So our church has, as many people watching and listening to this podcast know, our church has several levels.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you're at the local church level,
Mm-hmm.
even though we understand Oakwood is sort of a different animal,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
in terms of impact and influence.
Yeah.
But if you are displeased with a decision that is made at the highest level of the church, it doesn't mean, what I'm hearing you say is, it doesn't mean that you're going to be like, oh,
Yeah.
shoot, I'm done now.
I'm done. Right. Yeah.
I'm walking. I'm not going to pastor this church anymore,
Right.
because
Yeah.
what they did
They
up
do that.
there at the top, I didn't like, or I
Right.
don't agree with. And it could be a very legitimate disagreement, a very legitimate concern.
Yeah.
But you're saying that your loyalty, what I really hear you saying is that your loyalty ultimately is not to the church at the highest levels even, but it's to God.
To God. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to the task God has given you in terms of being the
In the current
pastor
moment,
Sure.
right,
and
the
leading
current
this group
season.
of people.
This group of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life can be fast-paced, strenuous, and flat-out overwhelming. Life transitions and taboo topics can make it hard to catch your breath. Welcome to Breathe, a podcast that enables you to slow down, get your bearings, and engage in real conversations where no topic is off limits. Breathe is presented by Breath of Life, hosted by David Person and speaker-director Pastor Debleaire Snell.
Boom.
Let's go.
What's up? What's up?
Hey.
Welcome to the Breathe Podcast.
Breathe
Pastor
Podcast.
Debleaire Snell, Pastor Kirk Nugent.
Yes, indeed.
David Person, good to be with you. And a new Monday, a new Breathe Podcast, and we are in this series that we're calling I'm Processing. So we're trying to literally walk through what it is to make decisions and to make decisions with variables. And some of these variables include questions like this one. Am I being too loyal?
Too loyal.
Too loyal to a person?
Yeah.
Too loyal to a situation?
Ooh.
Maybe a job.
Listen.
Job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A path.
A path.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even a previous decision.
Yeah.
Mercy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Ooh, a previous decision. Yeah. A
yeah.
previously held,
Yeah.
viewpoint.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
So
There's a lot there.
I guess we want to start by affirming before we begin to maybe deconstruct it a little bit.
Yeah.
We want to affirm the idea of loyalty, right? That's
Oh,
that's a virtue.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Very, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't think that you can have any meaningful relationship of any sort
Right.
if you're not willing to demonstrate a healthy degree of loyalty.
Agreed.
I think relationships, they all go through seasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
They all experience tension, disagreement, misunderstanding. They'll be tested circumstantially.
Agreed.
And I just think that if you're going to have healthy friendships, healthy romantic partnerships, or even business partnerships, there's got to be a degree of loyalty, a willingness to weather storms with people.
Yes.
I don't think there's any way around that.
Yeah, no, I totally agree that loyalty, you've so perfectly defined it. I do think, unfortunately, we each define what loyalty looks like differently. And for the person that is expecting loyalty from others, sometimes we get into a very weird space.
Yeah.
Oh, well, if you're my friend,
Yeah.
you should just rock with me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you're about to run off of a cliff. I
Right,
mean,
right,
that's not loyalty.
That's the word right
So
there.
I agree with what you said.
Yeah.
That definition is loyalty, but I do think that, especially in
Yep.
a social media driven society,
Yeah.
there with we're looking for the like and whatever else. There is a version of loyalty that is displayed that I definitely disagree with.
Yeah. In fact, what comes to mind for me, there's a certain political figure in our country
Oh my.
who has been
Yep.
has been described as somebody who demands
Loyalty. Yeah.
at without question.
Without question.
Just whatever I'm doing,
Yeah.
I only want to hear yes.
Yeah.
I only want affirmation.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any kind of
Mercy.
opinions that challenge what I'm
Sure.
saying,
Yep.
challenge what I'm doing.
Yeah.
If you say you're on board with me, then you got to be on board for everything.
Everything. Yeah. And I think what you guys both described, and it's what some would term loyalty, what people are wanting is complicity. Those are two
totally different things.
They live on two different streets, two different neighborhoods, two different planets, as a matter of fact. And I do think that, even just in our day-to-day operations, whether I actually see that in church at times, I see it just in family. And there's this idea that you didn't have my back simply because you did not affirm every single action statement I've ever made. Because I think a loyal friend or a loyal partner of any sort kind of will be like, yo, you should stand down on that.
Exactly.
It's funny because even just in our marriage, like you'll never really see me like rebuff or correct Gianna in front of a bunch of people and vice versa. But there may be some times because we love each other, I may just be going off the hinges about to say something or just in my feelings, and I'll feel her bumping me under the table. You know what I'm saying? Or, you know what I'm saying? Or a way to do it now is to send a text like, you're going too hard with that, kind of thing like that.
The text, yes.
But when we get into a private space, it's like you didn't show up your best in that moment. You know what I'm saying? So publicly, generally, we're going to stand together, but like we're not going to affirm wrong because we don't grow in that space.
No. That's good. Yeah.
So a person who is healthy is going to not only, I think, expect loyalty, but they are going to expect that loyalty to include what you just said, which is if I'm off center, if I'm out of bounds, you need to tell me. You need to let me know. I need to hear that from you. So there's that's a healthy space.
It is.
So one of my questions though about this topic is, if you're going to be, I don't want to say disloyal, but if you're going to have to take a position that could put your loyalty into question, what is the best way to go about doing that to have the best possible outcome in the situation?
Okay.
So, all right, so reframe the question. I want to make sure. So if I'm about to withdraw loyalty, is that what you?
Yeah, I'm saying, in other words, I'm saying if you've taken a position and then I'm like, man, Debleaire, I don't know that was a good, and I'm going to have to tell you because I'm your friend. I'm going to have to say, call you on it.
Gotcha.
What do you think is the healthiest way to do that? To preserve the relationship, but at the same time protect you from yourself. And for me to be, faithful to my conviction.
Sure. Yeah. So I just think, how the Bible says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. I just think, some components of that is, I just think, one, as believers, I think we should always be prayerful. We should bathe those kind of conversations in prayer, pre the conversation. I think number two, what we owe people is clarity, a clear communication that is not always bathed in caveats. And, I just think clarity, sometimes it may make people a little upset on the front end, but it'll kind of bring respect and wholeness to the relationship on the back end. I think sometimes confusing speech actually irritates a situation long term. Like you're trying to kind of, you're dancing so much that you're not clear, and people just want to look like, dude,
just
you didn't, right? You know what I'm saying? Just say it, right? And so I just think clear communication, and I just think just certain things like just, that are relationally healthy values, your tone, you don't have to be hurtful to be truthful.
That's right.
You don't have to be condescending to get the point across. You don't have to be arrogant. I just think, a clear, polite, but direct communication is healthy.
The only, and again, I'm with you 500%. But I do think that the person who has the opposing view and feels like they need to share it, I think you need to do some introspection. You need to check in with you first, to make sure that motive is pure.
It's pure,
because you will confuse. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, there have been times. I'll put myself in the hot seat. There have been times I've shared something I thought was good advice to a friend that I love and hold in high regard, only to realize that wasn't that may not have been the right thing.
Yeah.
And you now confuse the scenario because you are a voice that is trusted.
Yeah.
So you really want to check in. And pray, just like you said, be bathed in prayer, but check in and make sure that where is that motive coming from? Why do I want to share that thing with that person? If somebody has a new opportunity and you're sharing with, hey, well, you need to think about this and this and this and this. And I don't know. I would check in and make sure that is the right thing to say at that time.
Because sometimes it's our own fears.
Yeah.
Or maybe even worse, our own egos.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's causing us to try to slow somebody else.
Yeah.
Or you want that. You want that opportunity for you.
Yeah.
And we could just keep it a stack. It's like you see it and you're like, man, I wish I could steward that an opportunity.
That should have been me.
That should have been me. Yep.
We don't say it out loud, but I just, sometimes that comes into play.
Yeah.
But I also think, from the title, am I being too loyal? I think, these are some of the challenges.
Yeah.
What we're actually seeing is it in reverse.
Yeah.
Too loyal, I think, starts to happen when it's not reciprocated. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying.
You're being loyal, but you're not getting it back.
Yeah.
And I think that's where, to me, at least a litmus test in terms of
Oh, I think you hit the nail on the head. So I think there are two things, and I want to come back to what you just said.
Sure.
So I think one is, and this is where some introspection is required.
Absolutely.
Am I being loyal or am I just attached?
Ooh.
Because those are two different things.
Two different things.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's different.
Am I being loyal or am I just dependent? Those are two different things. So sometimes you're just so you would deem it loyalty, but you're just so emotionally attached, invested, hopeful, or maybe you're just dependent in some way on that relationship, partnership, whatever it is. It's not really loyalty. It's just so those are two different things.
I totally agree.
But I think to your point is like, okay, in a healthy relationship, there is a reciprocity.
Yeah.
There is an emotional reciprocity. In a business partnership, there's a financial reciprocity. In a, it should never be one-sided.
Right.
And I just think that there are some people who, again, they may be attached, they may be dependent. There is no reciprocity or very little reciprocity, or there's not meaningful reciprocity, but we're just so determined, so attached, so dependent that like we remain in spaces that ultimately will prove harmful to us, that we will wind up one day when that light comes on or as we come to ourselves, we will regret the time invested or the resources invested or the energy invested because it'll become clear that, oh, wow, that person really did not value this relationship in the way that I did.
Yeah.
Talking about loyalty, I think we also have to examine before we run out of time the concept of disloyalty.
Yeah.
So what would you define as being disloyal?
Yeah.
Mercy.
You want to jump in there first?
Yeah, I mean, so the opposite. So we talked about being too loyal, not receiving back.
Yeah.
Disloyal, I think, is presenting a front that there is this deep connection and relationship, but behind the back, not exemplifying that.
Yeah.
So not exhibiting that same connection and relationship and loyalty to the person that you have shown in public as you would in private, essentially betraying the trust.
Yeah,
I look at that as being disloyal in some of those relational situations, scenarios. But the other thing about being disloyal is because you talked about it relationally from a business perspective. From a business perspective, there are some times where disloyalty can kind of come in as well, but I think it stems from some maybe your bias or whatever. So I do think that from a definition standpoint, it really comes down to, are you the same person to them when you're with them as you're with them as you are when you're not with them? So making sure that those two.
I shouldn't be saying anything behind your back that I wouldn't say to your face.
Yeah.
Or
And
you're saying things behind their back that's different than what you
That's
said.
it.
saying
It's
to
totally
their
that.
face.
That's what it is. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also think if your disloyalty can manifest itself in the form of disrespect, meaning
Ooh.
if we're supposed to be together,
Yeah.
right? The three of us are
Right.
supposed to be
Right.
together, right?
Right.
So if one of us goes off the rails, there's a way to handle that. But
Yeah.
I probably should not in most cases correct one of you publicly. Now, privately, I'll pull you to the side and be like, yo, man, what
Yeah.
are you doing?
Hey, now listen. But if I'm about to say something, if I say something crazy on the podcast, correct me.
We're gonna hit the stop on the recording.
Literally, you took the words out.
I don't want it to live on.
But the only thing I was going to add, just what Pastor Snell was saying. But I do think, I think if the three of us are together, I think if the three of us are together, we can correct one another in here.
Yes. Yes.
So to me, this is not public.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So you don't have to come to me by myself without, you see what I'm saying? If the three of us are together, we've got a bond.
Yes.
I think you can correct here.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to come to one-on-one in that scenario. Is that?
I got you.
Okay.
I got you. Yeah. That makes sense. That makes sense.
And I think disloyalty shows up differently in different contexts.
Yeah.
So like in a business partnership, all right, if we're moving together in it, if I do something that causes me to win at your expense,
yes,
I think that's disloyalty. Like
Great.
your
Great
winning
point.
comes at my harm. I think that's an overt and very obvious act of disloyalty. And I think those things happen because it's funny because I think those things happen or God reveals it in subtle ways, really before it can ever really bite you in a big way. And I think people have a way of revealing themselves in various ways. I think what Kirk mentioned, again, just a general dishonesty. One thing is said to me, and then by the time it gets back to me another way, it's being said or communicated very, very differently. I think, honestly, an act of disloyalty, if you're in a romantic partnership, again, a person, you are in a romantic, at least you're not married, you say you're not even married, but you're in a covenant to kind of abide together romantically. Yeah. But like they begin seeing other people while they're committed to you. Absolutely. That's an act of disloyalty. Like that's, honestly, it's kind of like a deal-breaking thing. It's kind of like that. It is. They're kind of sharing. They're saying to you, even without using words, how much they value the relationship. Or even how much respect they have for you.
There it is.
And so I just think that's an act of disloyalty.
Absolutely.
Or just even in the body of Christ, if we all covenant to believe in the same God, we all ascribe these same values, but then when it's convenient for you, you set aside those values. That's an act of disloyalty in the body of Christ. And I think that we even see that sometimes where we allow politics to pull us aside away from Christian values. Wow. And to me, that's an act of disloyalty to the body of Christ.
Absolutely.
And so I just think that, disloyalty shows up in a number of different ways. And I think it looks different depending on what the relationship is. So like, I think in a professional setting, I think you have to almost have you have to stomach a certain amount of disloyalty. Like you're not, I mean, it's cool if you have a good family environment and a great friendship. That's what we have here in the Breath of Life family. So I have a different expectation, but I just think in certain settings, you kind of have to realize I'm there to do a job. You know what I'm saying? I want to be a witness and an ambassador for Christ, but emotionally, I'm not going to get all tangled up in kind of because they have their agendas. And see, somebody having a different agenda doesn't mean it's a bad agenda. It just means that's their agenda. It may not align with mine. And so I just think you have to have a certain emotional, I guess, autonomy in certain spaces. So there's some times where people kind of want something from the job that the job doesn't promise. It doesn't promise friendships. It doesn't promise the family environment. People say that, but that's more just to generate a morale. They don't really mean that.
You're sure right.
As soon as you can't produce to the level that they want, they're going to be making decisions about you.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't mean that that's a question of loyalty. It's just more about reality.
It's a reality, right?
But the reason I'm saying this because so even when we say, am I being too loyal to a job? So I think there's a principle. Whatever my hands find to do, I do it with all my might, as if working unto God
Lord,
and not unto man.
Agreed.
So that even in a professional space, let me be clear, even working for the church, I'm not always happy with the way it's operating. You know what I'm saying? Like there are times where I am furious about the way things are moving.
Okay.
But, I don't let that affect my standard. Like if whatever I'm going to do, I have to do it, even if I'm doing it for you, I'm doing it unto God and not unto man. So that my standard, my effort, my professionalism, that doesn't change based upon kind of who's leading, how I feel they're leading, how the church is operating, so on and so forth. So there is that part of us that even if we feel like, man, they're not, I'm not going to give it half effort.
Right.
I'm not going to show up disgruntled and angry or with an attitude. No, I got to show up. As long as I'm committing or I'm in a covenant to do this, I'm going to do it with excellence. So there are times where I ain't going to get that job, all that. No, as long as you want it, you need to give it all you got until you say, I'm not giving it. I'm going to give it all, or I'm not going to give it anything.
So our church has, as many people watching and listening to this podcast know, our church has several levels. Yeah. Right. So you may be you're at the local church level, even though we understand Oakwood is sort of a different animal, in terms of impact and influence. Yeah. But if you are displeased with a decision that is made at the highest level of the church, it doesn't mean, what I'm hearing you say is, it doesn't mean that you're going to be like, oh, shoot, I'm done now. I'm done. Right. I'm walking. I'm not going to pastor this church anymore, because what they did up there at the top, I didn't like, or I don't agree with. And it could be a very legitimate disagreement, a very legitimate concern. Yeah. But you're saying that your loyalty, what I really hear you saying is that your loyalty ultimately is not to the church at the highest levels, even, but it's to God.
To God,
and to the task God has given you in terms of being the pastor and leading this group of people.
This group of people, because at the end of the day, the people that I serve, they don't. And let me just say, even as I talk about the way church operates, it's not just even on higher levels. It's on the local church level. It's on the church board and business meeting level. Sometimes I have left. Let me not say too much. But I still got to show up with a certain standard.
No, you're right. You're right.
Because it's unto God.
It's unto God.
And not unto man.
Right.
That's to me where the loyalty works in those you serve's favor, because of the loyalty you have to God. Yeah. You still show up and serve regardless of what you're getting back. Yeah. So, in terms of the question of the episode, am I being too loyal? I think you got to take it case by case. Yeah. And I do believe, when we think about the relationship with God and man, if anybody's imbalanced on that relationship, it's God. God is being too loyal to
us. Yeah, that's the word right there. That's a whole nother episode right there.
Point taken. Point taken for sure.
Mercy.
But so I think that it's funny. There is a Bible verse in Ecclesiastes 3 where he talks about there's a time for every season under heaven. But I think I do want to encourage us to be aware that in that whole litany, it's very powerful. But the Bible talks about there's a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. And I just think there are certain relationships that are permanent. I think there's some that are seasonal.
Sure.
And I just think when the season of a certain professional partnership or romantic partnership or even a platonic friendship, like everybody that you were riding with in high school or college, some of them were just designated for a particular season.
Right.
And sometimes, man, it's kind of wild. It took me a long time to figure out. Sometimes there's not a falling out. Yeah. You don't hate them. Yeah. They didn't wrong you per se. It's just the season.
Yeah. Life takes you in different directions.
Right. Yeah. And I think at a certain point you just refrain from embracing. That doesn't mean I hate you, but it just means, okay, I got to kind of withdraw, I guess, a certain amount of effort and persistence into this relationship because it's just the season of that has ended. Yeah. And so I think sometimes we assume or some people may have recognized the season ended before you did.
Yeah, mercy.
Good point.
And they came to a place of acceptance before you did. And we kind of see them as betraying or disloyal when, okay, in retrospect, that the season on that just ended. And, it was And I've recognized it before other people did at times. And I had to kind of withdraw. I guess it sounds like loyalty, but I guess effort and persistence and determination, because it's just this season has come to a conclusion.
Well, I think the beautiful thing is, and I've wrestled with that myself, I think the beautiful thing is when you can come to the realization that a change in direction doesn't mean that the love is gone.
It's gone, right,
that
yes.
the bond is broken. It's just been adjusted.
Adjusted,
You know,
correct.
so, you know, life takes us in different directions. But the real test is when you can come back together.
Correct.
And then you realize, we still have that same connection, those same commonalities. It's just that our interactions have changed because life has changed.
Life has changed, right. And I just think, you know, I think you have that scenario. And then for whatever reason, I don't know what rubrics or whatever process you're going through, but I just think it's okay to recognize the season for embracing this person or this situation. It's just at its end. And it's time for me to move forward.
And, you know, I think God can help with that.
Absolutely.
You know, he can help us to understand what true loyalty is and what it isn't, what disloyalty actually is and what it isn't. And we can navigate these, and it's okay to be a little in your feelings as you're processing, but ultimately submit to God and give some time for reflection, which I think we've talked about earlier, and then let God guide you through this process. And the best way to do that, as you know what I'm about to say.
Come on.
Stop. Pray, and breathe.
Breathe is produced by David Person for Breath of Life. Executive producer is Debleaire Snell, and sound engineer is Kirk Nugent. Audio episodes of Breathe can be found on Apple, Spotify, or Google podcast platforms. For video episodes and extra content, check out the Breath of Life YouTube channel. Breath of Life is faith-based content, resources, and programs from a contemporary urban perspective for those looking for hope and guidance. We believe that every breath we take is a testimony that God is consistent, that He loves us, and has a plan for our lives.